a lot going on. All right, I'm playing a little bit of catch up after missing hour number one, but we have to talk about what really was, not just a loss, but a humiliation, a true humiliation of the Denver Nuggets in Game 2. I anticipated a Nuggets loss. I even picked a blowout loss. I
you picked a blowout loss last night or the night before or the game before?
Both. Because I was convinced that what eventually came last night was actually coming in Game 1 because of all the historical stuff working against the rest and, the average margin of a loss in a rest like the Nuggets versus a rest like the Oklahoma City in the last 25 years is over 19 points a game. So I was convinced of it. And then they threw their best punch in Game 1.
They did.
In a way that I thought was coming Game 2. So I just had it flipped. I was convinced the Nuggets were going to be the best version of themselves in Game 2.
Well,
that turned out to be Oklahoma City.
The Thunder threw their best punch in Game 2, which you talked about, and you said that they're going to. And that was – I talked about this earlier where I put a tweet out there, and I was like, guys, we get to weather the storm and just stick together. Had that motivation. And
how'd that go?
Oh, it did not go as planned. And there was a guy that tweeted me and said, hey, Phil, this isn't a storm. This is a hurricane.
Yeah.
I said, it might be worse than a hurricane if there is something out there that's worse than a hurricane.
Yeah.
Man. It was bad.
Lots of thunder. And you talk about someone circling back with you on Twitter. How about I had the tweet after Game 1, imagine being an SGA MVP voter, when Jokić comes in your house and goes 42 and 22
Kicks the door down.
And a win. Good luck sleeping tonight. Well, there was over 400 bookmarks on that.
No. Oh,
Bro,
no.
I had an army of people circle back. I'm like, why is my phone blinking off so crazy? And it's just one after another.
They were locked and loaded.
Oh, they came back with a vengeance. But obviously, you want to dip your toe in that social media world. That's what you get. But man, that was again, even from someone who picked a blowout. I think I had like Thunder 121 to 104 or something like that.
You had it like that.
Like, dude, double the margin. I mean, a 43-point loss, second largest blowout in the history of the Denver Nuggets. Oklahoma City had the highest offensive rating of any first half in the history of NBA basketball.
It was 87 points in the first half. And we talked about it, and you put it in the notes, Zach. The Celtics scored 90.
Yeah, right. How about that?
The Celtics scored 90, and that was after a 48-minute game,
right.
Pretty much. You're talking about the Thunder that was able to get to 87 points before halftime.
Psychotic. Truly psychotic.
Where do you want to start with this? Like, from start to finish, it was all bad. But from the start, it's like the heart wasn't there. I believe that, okay, the Nuggets were going to find a way. They were going to be gritty. They were going to throw a couple punches. They were going to play better defense. They were going to rebound like they did in Game 1. That was not the case, Zach. They didn't do any of that.
No, they didn't. The biggest glaring difference game over game, and I hope this is the only one of its kind that we get in the series, but Denver has shown they're good for one of these, basically a series here. They did not come close to having the requisite competitive spirit, and you knew what was coming. Like, I'm sitting here as a radio host 1,000 miles away from where they're playing the game, saying they better be ready for the first punch. The first punch is going to be the best.
The Thunder punch.
The Thunder punch. It's going to be the best punch to throw here. You're going to have to weather that storm initially because it's coming, and it's like almost like I'll say it like this, Phil. It's like, you know how we say after splitting the first two, it's 1-1, and there's like a psychological letdown. It's almost like the Nuggets consciously picked up the human element option to say, we're good, we got the first game, and this is good enough. Because you can't tell me that group had the same, even similar, like the second cousin of the mindset they had in Game 1. It was just MIA.
But Zach, the thing about this is the Thunder were just more physical.
Yeah.
That's just a mental thing. Like, guys, go out there and throw a punch. Throw a punch. Don't just take it. And we know that there's a bunch of people talking around, and let me get your point on this, because the Thunder were able to get to the free throw line a lot. And the Thunder were able to be a lot more aggressive with Jokić than usual, which it seemed like Jokić kind of got in his feelings and it messed with his head, and it became, I don't care about this game anymore. I care about punching somebody. I care about like just letting my anger out on somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just Jokić just pretty much said, I'm cashed out because things are not going our way and I'm not getting any calls and it's not getting any better. But that's the Thunder just saying, hey, we're going to be more physical than you guys. That we're going to out-physical you guys. We're going to do what we did in game one, which we were ahead in the game in game one the whole entire time until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Right.
But this time we're going to finish, and boy, did they finish.
So, what are you the most curious about? Jokić and his frustration, or the foul?
Well, let's go with both.
Dynamic.
Let's go with the foul dynamic.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there. I did a lot of talking. All right, so put those listening ears on. There's a lot of people out there, Zach, that want to blame it on the fouls and the referees.
Oh my gosh. When you lose by 43 points, that can't be at the top of the list. It just can't be. It's come on, guys. You lose by over 40? You lose by over 40? Gave up 87 points in the first half? Come on, we can't. You cannot sit here. Now, it's maybe worth mentioning and what it could look like moving forward, but when you get bludgeoned like that is blunt force trauma, okay? That is not using a scalpel. That is using a hatchet over the top of your head. So, no, I don't want to talk about the officiating. And now, was it a physical game? It is. These entire playoffs, I'm telling you, these people who want a basketball from the 1990s brought back, guys, you got it.
It's here.
This is as physical as the game has ever been played.
SmackDown versus Raw.
It's SmackDown versus Raw. And with the Jokić stuff, the thing that I think is most frustrating for Jokić is that it's the fouls away from the ball.
Yeah.
It's like, because you're really, these guys are really walking the line of like forcing the officials to make a decision. And when the tone is set in that first quarter of like, this is going to be what's acceptable, you have a decision to make. Really, I say first quarter, really in the first 3 or 4 minutes, like the Denver Nuggets had a decision to make. You can rise to the level of intensity and physicality that the tone has been set, or you can turtle and wither up and go in the fetal position. And they did the latter. They did not meet the moment. And but I'll say this too. How many foul calls do you think were the difference here? What's the difference of foul calls? It's 5.
Yeah.
It's 5. How about the free throws? You look at the free throws. Nuggets took 32. Thunder took 36. So yeah.
So what you're pretty much saying is people they just want an excuse.
Yeah, figure it out.
They want an excuse to say, well, this is why we got blown out because of the fouls and the referees.
Oh my gosh! If that's the mindset, then just cancel the series at 1-1 and let Oklahoma City go to the next round. If that's what people are saying, that's why you lost by 43 points. Stop. You weren't ready for a fist fight. That was Game 7 for the Thunder. And please believe, you want to know what? I don't think they needed this, but what didn't help is that before these games, before they're running out. Bro, that Celtics game's on in the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
They're watching a team that won 60
that?
games go down 0-2. And I don't know exactly how many games the Celtics won this year. We can pull it up. But, you're watching a championship favorite lose twice on their home court, and it's like, oh, dear mother of God.
We can't be like them.
You just saw what happened the night before with Indiana and Cleveland. And it's like, you're the 8th team in NBA history that won 68 games. You're the team that just lost on your home floor. The fact that Denver's mindset was such that they came in with, 12-ounce gloves on, and the Thunder came in bare knuckle.
They was ready for that fight.
They were. And Denver wasn't. And when they got punched in the face, they just kept on getting punched in the face.
Let me ask you this then, Zach. Because last time, first series, what was it, Game 4, Game 5, where the Nuggets got blown out. We came back in here that next day, and we overreacted. Let's be honest. We overreacted.
In terms of Game 3, when they got lost by
34? It was
Yep.
Game 3, and we overreacted, and we were like, look, the Nuggets are cooked, and this is not going to happen. And the Nuggets went on to win in Game 7, and we came back in and apologized. How are you feeling about this ass whooping that we just had?
Honestly, and now this is nuanced, but the way that I'll answer it just right out of the gate is I feel fine. I feel fine. And I know because This was, one, what I expected. Not my 43, but I was expecting a 17-point loss, like legit. Your goal when you leave Denver and go to Oklahoma City after Game 7 on Saturday night was to try to figure out one of the two wins. Try to figure out one.
Try to split at least.
Yeah, that's it. I think it'd be unrealistic when they were leaving Denver to say, go steal both against the 1 seed who's been off for 9 days and you have 36 hours of rest in between games. I think it'd be unrealistic. I think all of us would have taken this scenario. Now, what makes it different, because I'm going to do a recall thing here back to about a week and a half ago, and I know you're going to remember this. Avs against Dallas, Game 1.
Yeah.
They win. Game 2, they lose. And do you remember how upset I was that they blew Game 2?
Yeah, because it was in our hands and we dropped it. We dropped the puck.
Yes. And that was in Dallas.
Yeah.
Right? But the difference is that the Avs blew it. The Avs blew that game. They had a lead and they gave it up.
Yeah.
And so I was so frustrated because this is a vaunted opponent and you had an opportunity to capitalize on it. And you had I forget whether it's a second period lead, third period lead. I believe it was a third period lead. They end up losing 4-3. And I'm just like tearing my hair out like, what a missed opportunity. I think the difference is that outside of like Dallas isn't the 1 seed, like this is the 1 seed, and that game was over last night about say 5.5 to 7 minutes of real time. Like let me ask you this: when did you know it was a lost cause? Last night.
Oh, like you just said, like literally like 7.5 minutes into it, it was like this is it. The Nuggets don't have it, and the Thunder are ready for whatever. And everything was going in for him. And SGA was looking like the MVP that he believes he's going to be.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, this is not our night. This is getting ready to be bad. There was not one point in that game, Zach, where I was like, oh, the Nuggets are coming back.
No.
It was over.
No, it was over. After 12 minutes, it's 45-21. I mean, 45-21. What are you on pace to score when you score 45 points in the first
over
quarter?
100. What was it? Like
you're on pace to score 180.
180 points.
So,
in fact, you're talking about the playoffs. You're talking about the playoffs. You're talking about the Denver Nuggets who have found ways to stay in games, who have found ways to bounce back. But that game last night, there was no bouncing back. There was no hanging around and finding a way to keep it close until the end. There's just if this is what they're going to look like, and I don't expect this to be the case here in home at Ball Arena.
Definitely not.
But this is going to be a short series if that's the mindset that the Nuggets come out with yet again.
It's one, you're 1,000% correct, but I just believe there is no scenario. I shouldn't say no scenario. Like 4% likelihood that you see that dynamic pop up that way again. They did this in the Minnesota series last year when they lost by 46 points. They did this in the Clippers series in Game 3 when they lost by 34 points. And they've done it here in Game 2 when they lost by 43 points. But I refuse to believe that you're going to see a duplicate of that. Like, as much, sometimes we, and again, this is the playoffs, so people aren't going to want to hear this, but I do think it's rooted in reality that when we say sometimes, hey, that's a scheduled loss. That's a scheduled loss. You're on the 6th game of a 6-game road trip, and it's in Los Angeles, who's been off for 3 days. It's like, oh, that's a scheduled loss. Like, you have a young team going to bright lights of L.A. They're going to go out. These guys, whatever. Like, and I'm just making up a scenario. As much as you can have a scheduled playoff loss, that's what that was last night. And I've seen it now too many times that, and to your point, going back to Game 3 of the first round.
Yeah, where we got blown out by the Clippers.
Yep, and we all thought they were cooked.
Yeah.
Thought they were freaking
legs were
cooked.
dead. Like, this is it. You might as well just go ahead and book your Cancun trips because it's done for you Nuggets.
Yes, and most of the market felt like that. Because, of course, the context is you had just lost in Denver in Game 2. You had just fired your coach. I mean, it just didn't look or feel right. But here they are. And, again, I'm sure someone out there or a bunch of people out there are furious of how last night went. I'm not going to get that worked up over it. It's 1-1. And for me, I think the goal here, and you may think different here, but I go into the 2-game set here in Denver with the same mindset as I did go into Oklahoma City.
Just win one?
Split them. Because I want I knew you're going to frown on that.
I don't know, Zach.
Well, of course we'd all want them to go up 3-1. I don't think it's realistic. I don't. I think the Thunder are too good. But here's the genesis of me saying this. Make it a best of 3. Put pressure on them. The shorter the series gets, the more pressure is on Oklahoma City. Of course, if you go up 3-1, I mean, this would be the biggest story in sports if these Thunder got down.
Well, see, Zach, I'm kind of more in along the lines of they need to go up 3-1 because once they head back to OKC, it's going to be tough to beat them. They know that. And you said it best yesterday. Your role players, your bench players play better at home.
Almost always.
So if we don't take advantage of what we have here at Ball Arena, which the fans get crazy, and it's just they're just a different team, and you let them split, you put it back in the ball back in their court, and now they're more confident, they're young, and they're deeper. In my opinion, we have to find a way to win these 2 at home because that's the biggest advantage we have is home court advantage.
Phil, obviously, if you like gave me that contract, like, do you want to sign this? I'd cut myself and sign it in blood.
Yeah.
I mean, but looking at it, in my opinion, realistically, I'd say split it here in Denver. And you mentioned going to OKC and they're a great home team, and they have one of the best. I mean, this is 2 of the best home crowd advantages in the entire NBA. But if you put those boys in a Game 7 in front of their home crowd,
I like where your head's at.
I will bet on Denver. If you put all that pressure, and here they are with a 48-minute game to get out of the second round for the first time in this iteration of the Thunder, I'm telling you, I would bet on the guys from Denver. And I just don't believe that the Nuggets are going to win this thing in 6. I don't. So, again, you could maybe say, hey, that's kind of a loser's mindset, isn't it? Like splitting at home.
Everybody has a different perspective on this, different way for us to win because the ultimate goal is for us to win. I'm just more, after watching that game and what the Thunder were able to do when they were focused, it was like, hey, guys, we're here and we're deep. And we're better than you guys, and we're fresh, and this is just how it's going to go. I'm just a little nervous because of how it looked. We got blown out at one point. We were down by 49 points.
Yeah.
And so it's like if we would have lost by 3-5, I wouldn't have said anything. It's like, okay, like there's an excuse. Like, hey, maybe if we would have got this 3 to fall for us, or maybe if we played better defense here. But it's hard to say that when you get blown out by 43 points. And it's like, what does that look like if the Thunder had that same intensity, that same mentality, and they're able to beat you on your home court?
Right.
It's hard to go to their home court and try to do it to them again.
100%. But we got ourselves a series.
We do.
We have ourselves a series. And teams that split, this is historically NBA history here, teams that split the first 2 games on the road, so the team walking in Denver shoes, is 68 and 110 in NBA history. So about 39% of the time, almost 40%, the team in Denver shoes wins, and about 60% of the time, the team in the Thunder's shoes wins. I think I would take this.
You just sound optimistic, which is great because it's like the first series, it seemed like all of us were down and out. Now it's like, hey, I know that the Nuggets got blown out.
Yeah.
But like, have no fear because things can get better for them.
Every time that stock dips and you think it's about to bottom out, it finds a way to rally with this team. And I should have known better after Game 3, and how in the last series, and how frustrated we were, and some of the things that I was saying. I'm like, just lose and make it quick. Just lose and make it quick. So
we're human, Zach. We let our emotions get the best of us. We want the Nuggets to win, and when it looked like that against the Clippers, it's like, what are we doing? But now it looks like that against the Thunder in Game 2.
Right. So Denver's mindset has to be way different. The physicality has to sync up with the mindset, and come back home to Denver. Get this thing back home to Denver, which it is tomorrow night, and play with a more focus, a more determination, a more physical game, And I mean, it got to a point like Jokić took himself out of that game with his fouls.
Yeah.
He was done with that game. Like, Adelman, you're not going to pull us? Okay, I'll pull myself. Like, I'm done with this.
So you didn't like that Adelman did not pull the starters. Like, you got third quarter, you're getting blown out. Like, when do you pull them?
Yeah, I think once you come out of the locker room and the beating continues
Which
and
it
the
did.
turnovers continue and there's no semblance of intensity, like I've heard people say, like, well, this is NBA basketball. You know, well, I use that same thing. This is NBA basketball. This is going to be a long series. You have to be strategic. They are the younger and deeper team. Get these guys off their feet. You have no chance of winning this game. Again, I'm not saying shut it down at halftime, but once you realized, midway through that third quarter, like, dude, they lost the third quarter by 17 points.
Oh, I know. It was bad.
Just in the third. They lost by 17. And you already down an insane amount of halftime. So my preference would have been, because that actually seemed like a Michael Malone move, who would keep guys out there like, no, you guys are going to sit out there and wear it. Like, dude, this is the playoffs. You got 6 guys that play, maybe 7.
Well, you know who we frowned upon in the hockey world that did that to their goalie? That was Dallas and Pete DeBoer.
Good
When
pull.
Ottinger got pulled and everybody was like, oh, they throwing in the towel and all that. And the coach came back and said, hey, we knew we weren't winning that game and I needed him to have rest. And we all sat here and thought he was crazy. They ended up beating us because of it. They had the rest. Ottinger ended up doing well throughout the series.
Yes.
That was something that like stuck out to me.
That's a great recall and reference point. And that was the 4-0 game.
Yeah.
And they took him out for the entire third. He never even came out. So they took 33% of his workload off the table, and then the Stars won the next game 6-2. No, that's a good reference. And again, I'm not like dying on that hill because like there's a scenario where you can go on a run, but there's no 30-0 run. There's no 35-40-0 run.
I was hoping. I was like, maybe the Nuggets would be the first to do it.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Dante, what'd you say there? Oh, you don't care. Okay. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like tomorrow night. But that was a